I'm Jaclyn.
And I'm Courtney, and this is Caffeinated Crimes in person.
This is so exciting, guys. This is like a revolutionary episode for so many reasons because we are in person recording together for the first time. And when you guys are hearing this, it is the week of our 1-year podcast anniversary.
Yeah, so you remember in like episode 3 or 4, and we're like, we're going to see each other next week and record in person. It took us a year to finally record in person.
We did not get to do that at that time. I was honestly kind of nervous that Courtney wasn't going to make it this weekend because we got hit by this major ice storm, but she's here. Maybe here forever. I don't know, you know.
Ice never stopped me. The cold never bothered me anyway.
I said I was going to wake Courtney up at 7 a.m. and ask her if she wanted to build a snowman, so, you know.
But she didn't, thank God.
I did not. But we are so excited to be here together to bring you guys this special anniversary episode. We wanted to do something a little more fun and not quite as serious and heavy because we want to celebrate. So, you know, we want to do something that's a little easier to celebrate too, I guess.
And also, we just ended like a really harsh 3-parter. So I think our brains kind of needed a break because Gary Ridgway was a lot.
Yes, it was quite a lot to take in. Also, we just want to apologize ahead of time if the audio quality for this episode is not as good as it has been because we've never recorded together in person. So editing wise, it's a little harder to take things out. So hopefully it'll still be good, but bear with us if there's a few little odd noises that aren't planned.
I'm going to be as quiet as I can be, guys.
Yes, we're going to try really hard. Also, like I said, there is an ice storm outside, so there have been some crashes happening of major icicles falling and some tree limbs and stuff, so you may hear some of those too. So it'll just feel like you guys are right here with us in this storm.
Yeah, and the Patreon video episode, which should be up by now.
Hopefully.
You got some real reactions to some of that cracking. So if you want to go on, head over to patreon.com/caffeinatedcrimes, you can look at that video episode.
Yes, we just, like I said, hopefully it should be out by now. We had some uploading issues yesterday where it's still not officially posted, but hopefully once we finish recording today, it will be. But we did a 2020 recap of 12 like headline news stories of true crime stuff in 2020, and it was our first video episode. So again, head on over to patreon.com/caffeinatedcrimes if you guys want to watch that lovely episode. It's about an hour long. And again, you get to see our reactions to a bunch of tree limbs falling outside in the middle. So, but if you want to put a face to, and you probably just heard one just now. So, but if you guys want to put a face to our voices, then that's there. But today, we want to do a few funny crimes, some things that are some criminals maybe not thinking through their decisions in a way that turned out entertaining because no one got hurt.
Yeah.
Okay. So my first story came from a Fox News article. So 54-year-old Michael Harrell robbed a bank using a handwritten note that he slid to the teller. Unfortunately for him, he chose to use a piece of scrap paper from the DMV that had his full name and address on it. So, needless to say, he was arrested a few days later. An FBI agent was quoted saying, quote, "When you present a note that has your name already on it and address, it helps law enforcement tremendously." Which
it does help.
I thought was just a funny quote that he felt the need to say, you know, it helps a lot when you just tell us who you are. So he didn't really think that one through. He just had that scrap piece of paper in his car and was like, I'll use this to rob a bank. And literally the lady flipped it over and called him by name during the transaction. And he like responded without realizing that that's how she knew his name. And then they called the police and he was promptly arrested. So, you know, maybe think it through a little bit more if you're going to rob a bank.
Might be a good idea. Okay, so my first one comes from an Oxygen.com article. So Matthew Lee... Sorry, I'm laughing because I'm thinking about my story. So Matthew Leahem, who's 22, was charged in early February 2021 with misuse of the 911 system and possession of marijuana. So Matthew lives in Florida. We have our typical Florida man.
Of course.
And he has a tattoo of Florida on his forehead. Like, it's literally like across, like between his eyebrows. It's the state of Florida.
That's commitment.
Yeah. So he called 911 twice in order to find a ride home. And he swore repeatedly at the 911 operator. So the arresting officer initially offered to help him get a taxi after his first 911 call, but he refused and said he had no money, and he walked away. So then he called 911 a second time, at which the officer found him and arrested him. And when he was searched, they did find marijuana in his possession, and he was released on a $300 bond, and I haven't seen anything else. But I just think it's funny of like, I need a ride home. Thanks.
I just want to say, have his friends not introduced him to Uber? I mean, it's
he
really
didn't have any
easy.
money. The guy was going to call him a taxi, and he's like, I don't have any money. I need you to just drive me home in your cop car.
Take me home for free. That's how this works, right? Oh, Florida. I don't know. We should probably take a bet on how many of these are Florida because I'm sure there's quite a few. So this was a WBIR news article, which is actually in Tennessee, but it did not happen in Tennessee, but I guess they felt the need to report on it. So 32-year-old Alberto Saavedra Lopez was accused of stealing $5,000 from the Bank of America where he worked between July and September of 2016. In October, upon realizing he was about to get caught, he quit his job and moved out of town. So police made multiple attempts to contact him, but he was on the run, so a warrant was eventually issued for his arrest. In December of 2017, Alberto applied for a job as a dispatcher at the Cottonwood Police Department in Arizona, which is an interesting choice for a job when there's a warrant out for your arrest. So his warrant was revealed during a background check, so they called him in for an interview, and when he arrived all ready for his job interview, he was promptly arrested. So didn't really think that one through. Shouldn't really apply for a job with a police department if you have an outstanding warrant, because they might catch it.
Yeah, they might. That's a good chance of that.
Yeah, for sure.
So this came from a Digital Journal article and a Murdoch.edu article. So in 2011, in Lexington, North Carolina, 53-year-old Michael Anthony Fuller walked into Walmart and tried to purchase a vacuum cleaner, a microwave oven, and various other products, which came up to a total of $476. When he went to pay, he pulled out a fake $1 million bill and said it was real. And he just kept demanding his change. Like, he wanted his $900,000 change. And store personnel eventually contacted the police after he just kept insisting it was legitimate. So police later charged him with attempting to obtain property by false pretense and uttering a forged instrument, both which are felonies. And just a little fun facts. There has never been a $1 million bill printed. The highest bill on record was a $100,000 bill that was used from December 19th, 1934 to January 9th, 1935. It wasn't put into circulation. It was only used between the Federal Reserve's district, but it did exist.
Wow.
And currently the largest bill in circulation is $100. And I can't find any further information on his charges.
That is very interesting. I did not know that
there was
size...
a $100,000 bill.
Yeah, I never knew that existed. That's crazy. And I also want to know if this guy thought that this Walmart register would have $900-something thousand in it.
Right? That's so much money.
I know Walmart's a big business and makes a lot of money, but I don't think they have that much cash just in their store at any given moment.
And you just got charged with 2 felonies because you just wouldn't stop.
Oh boy. So this came from a CBS article out of Minnesota. So in February of 2011, police in St. Cloud, Minnesota were called to check out a Pizza Hut after their alarm went off at 1:25 a.m. Inside, they found 21-year-old Corey Michael Mogan frying some boneless chicken wings. He had also thrown marinara sauce on the wall, which is just unnecessary and rude, but why are you going to waste all that good marinara?
He wanted to see if it was done. I'm just kidding. I know that's spaghetti noodles.
That was a good joke.
Thank you.
So his breathalyzer revealed BAC of 0.22, and he was also arrested for a third-degree burglary. But, sometimes you get drunk and you get a little hungry, and you want some chicken wings and to toss the marinara on the wall. I want
Pizza Hut chicken wings. Those are top of the top.
I mean, those Pizza Hut chicken wings are the chicken wings. Like, that's what when you think of getting chicken wings, you think of Pizza Hut, right? That's where your mind goes to.
It's the wing zone. Come on now. This is a good one. Sorry.
I love how we laugh at the beginning of every story because we're like, oh, this one's good.
Don't worry, I'm about to let you guys in on the joke. It's okay. So this came from a CNN article. So in 2016, 45-year-old Donald Chip Pugh was wanted in Lima, Ohio for failing to appear in court for a DUI charge. He was also a person of interest in other cases involving vandalism and arson. So Lima police posted on Facebook to try and see if anyone had any information regarding his whereabouts, which, like, I've seen before, like, you post their mugshot and, like, he's wanted. And so they did use his previous mugshot from some of the run-ins they'd had before. And those charges included, like, disorderly conduct, breaking and entering, domestic violence. Like, this dude has a record. So Chip saw this post, and he wasn't happy. So he sent the police a message saying, here's a better photo. That one is terrible. And included a selfie. So they did update their post with the better selfie.
I mean, you gotta grant his wishes, you know?
And he was later arrested in Century, Florida. And also, this got a lot of traction on Facebook, and he kind of ended up getting a big following of, like, because he did this.
Of course.
So in his original mugshot, he was smiling, and it was like a really bad smile. And in a radio interview, they asked him about this, and he said he refused to take a mean mugshot because before this, he'd never been arrested on a misdemeanor. So he went in there and was happy. And when the police asked why he's smiling, he said, "Because I'm gonna walk out of jail in a minute. I'm so happy." He's like, I can finally make bond this time.
He's
I'm
like,
happy.
Oh, this is the first time that I've been arrested for something that's not a big deal. It's a good day.
It's just a DUI. I'm fine. But yeah, it was, and the picture's really funny too. It was just like, that picture's terrible. Post this one instead.
That's really funny. We'll have to post that picture on the Instagram for this episode.
Definitely. That and the Florida tattoo. Those are definitely going up.
For sure. This one's really good. I feel like we said that about each one. But so this was an Oxygen article. So 24-year-old Robert Berger was arrested for stealing a Lexus and pled guilty to possession of stolen property in the 4th degree in December of 2018. Then in June of 2019, he also pled guilty to attempted grand larceny in the 3rd degree after trying to steal a pickup truck. So I guess he was not successful that time, but tried to again. So his sentencing hearing for both offenses was scheduled for October 22nd, 2019. Prior to this hearing, a representative from Berger's former attorney's office contacted the court and said that Robert Berger had died and asked to have the pending sentences dismissed. So a week later, the former attorney, Mir Moza, presented his death certificate to the district attorney's office, which stated that Berger had died by suicide on September 21st. And he said that he was given the death certificate by Berger's fiancée. But upon further examination, the district attorney's office realized that the word registry was spelled registry. So Registry on this, quote, death certificate.
Yeah.
So they then called the Vital Statistics and Registry Department of the New Jersey Department of Health and learned that the death certificate was in fact fraudulent. So Berger then fled the state and was later arrested on December 14th, 2019 in Delaware County, Pennsylvania, this time on charges of providing false identification to law enforcement, and he was also arraigned on charges of offering a false instrument for filing. So,
if only you hadn't made a typo, you'd have been fine.
Yeah, moral of the story, if you're going to fake your own death, learn how to spell or use spell check, because you almost had it.
That's funny. I think I saw that one on one of the lists.
Yeah, that one cracked me up.
This one's good too. Sorry, guys. I think they're all really funny.
Hopefully we're not enjoying this more than you are. Hopefully you guys are also enjoying this.
Yeah. So this came from a BBC News article. So in May 2012, 2 Welsh tourists stole a penguin named Dirk from a theme park after a night out. So, Rise Owen Jones, who is 21, and Carrie Moles, who is 20, broke into SeaWorld on Queensland Gold Coast with an 18-year-old Australian man after attending a beach party. They apparently went and swam with the dolphins, let off a fire extinguisher in the shark enclosure before they left with Dirk the penguin. They woke up the next morning with the penguin in their apartment. So they're like, where'd this
Uh-oh.
penguin come from?
I hate when that happens.
So they tried to feed him and put him in the shower, but they were later caught releasing him into a canal because I guess they were like, we don't know what to do
What
with
do I
this
do
penguin.
with this penguin?
Dirk was rescued and returned to
good.
SeaWorld, where he was reunited with his partner Peaches.
Oh,
Dirk and Peaches.
Dirk and Peaches. I love penguins.
Dirk was bred in captivity and is a part of a breeding colony, so if he was out in the wild, he probably would not survive.
Oh.
So it was determined in court that while they were reckless, immature, and stupid, they did not act in malice. Like, they weren't trying to, like, kill the penguin or hurt the penguin. They were just being fucking idiots.
Wanted to hang out with the penguin, which I get. You know, I would never steal one, but I get the urge to want to hang out with them because I also want to hang out with a penguin.
Yeah. So they did agree to a plea deal where there would be no charges, but there was a fine of 1,000 Australian dollars each.
If you guys heard that, I think a whole tree just fell on my house. I'm a little nervous.
Sorry for all that dead air. I'm just gonna keep going.
Yep,
we die podcasting, then we die.
You know, just go out doing what you love is what they say, right? Someone please make sure this episode gets released. Thanks.
Thank you. So yeah, it was 1,000 Australian dollars each. So that's about $780 US or 560 pounds, which is where they were from. So the magistrate told them that this could have ended up with them being in the morgue because, I mean, you were with the dolphins, the sharks, this penguin, you know, all this. And next time they're at a party, maybe try and drink a little less vodka. So the two also wrote a letter of apology to SeaWorld and the Australian public on how sorry they were for their actions.
Wow. Can I tell a side penguin story very
Let's
quickly?
go for it.
So Andrew and I we were at the Toledo Zoo, and it was like November, I don't know, like 5 years ago. But, you know, it was cold outside and it was at night. And there was just like this lone penguin just alone in this enclosure. And then like all the penguins had been moved to like a different location. But like this one so Andrew and I spent like 30 minutes like hunting down an employee of the zoo to be like, I think y'all forgot a penguin because I just see this single. And they're like, oh no, he's supposed to be out there. And we're like, but why? Like all of his friends are somewhere else. Why is he alone? And I just think about that penguin all the time.
He was a mean penguin. He's like, we can't be around him.
Yeah, and it was rainy, so it was like Ohio in November and rainy and dark. And Andrew and I are like, well, we can't leave the zoo until we find someone to make sure that they take care of this penguin.
That's funny.
So my information came from a Daily Dot article. So in March of 2020, which this must have happened right before everything shut down for COVID, because it does take place in a restaurant. A woman in British Columbia had dinner at a local restaurant, and apparently she decided that she did not want to pay her bill, so she climbed into the ceiling of the bathroom in an attempt to escape the restaurant. So, you know, dine and dash, walking out the door, that's old school. Now you gotta climb in the ceiling.
Pretend to go to the bathroom?
And then where do you go? Well, let me tell you. So a manager heard the woman crawling over the kitchen, so they called police. So when police arrived, the woman crashed through the ceiling right in front of them, where she was arrested. The restaurant did decide against pressing charges, but the video is online, so you can see her crash through the ceiling and just fall right at police's feet.
That's really funny.
So it was very funny, and the owner of the restaurant posted the video, I think it was in like August, like it was like several months later, but he was like, the world's tough right now and like no one was hurt and this was a fine situation, so I'm gonna post this so everyone else can laugh too.
Yeah.
So and we did. It was very funny.
That is really funny. So I also got this one from a BBC News article because I was having trouble finding stuff towards the end, so we had to go international.
Because in case you guys did not know, if you try to Google funny crimes, a lot of them are not funny. They're pretty serious.
Okay, because I started researching this one, and it just turned sad.
Yeah.
Because it was like this man was found like walking a dead dog, and he was like
Yes.
telling people like, my dog died of depression, which I thought was like kind of funny to be like, you're saying like this, and then it just turned really sad, and I was like, never mind.
Like, you're also walking your dead dog. And then there was also like a lady that like set her boyfriend's house on fire like after sex, and I'm like, but okay, this is a bit serious.
It's a little too serious for my taste. So, on December 18th, 2013, Gary Ruff tried to rob a bookmaker's in Glasgow while armed with a cucumber.
Okay.
So Gary banished the cucumber that was covered in a black sock. So they're saying it looked like a gun, almost like a sawed-off like shotgun kind of thing, because it was in a sock. So it wasn't like a green cucumber. At a female employee and demanded cash. Shortly after, she said no. She's like, I'm not going to do that.
I'm not giving into your cucumber demands, sir.
Yeah. So Gary was tackled to the ground by a police officer who happened to be in the store and was arrested. So he was like off duty, and he hears this guy demanding money. So he's like, well, I guess I gotta go to work.
Guess I'll take care of this.
So that point, they took the sock off, and it was revealed to be a cucumber. So he was charged with assault with intent to rob, and Gary told the police it was a joke, and is he really going to go to jail for a prank? And he later added that, I think that it was quite stupid. I'm not a robber. It was a laugh that went too far.
Even though you know it was a cucumber, the person that you were trying to rob with the cucumber probably did not realize it was the cucumber.
And if that officer hadn't been in the store, there's probably a chance you could have, fully committed this robbery.
Oh, yeah. With a cucumber.
Yeah. So Gary could give no explanation as to why he was robbing the store. And it didn't seem that he had any issues that he'd need the financial gain. Like, he had a job. It didn't seem like he was pressed for anything. And he did end up being sentenced to 40 months in jail.
Wow. That is... Wow.
Yeah. So, good old Gary.
He's a lot better than the last Gary that we finished talking about, at least.
True, but imagine going to your next job and they're like, I see here there's a 3-year gap in your resume. I tried to rob a store with a cucumber that was in a black sock. No one's gonna believe you.
It wasn't that serious because it was a prank, and they're just like, okay, we're just gonna move this resume to the bottom now, thanks. So this came from a Rolling Stone article. So a man named Keith Schultz attempted to break into a home in Ridgecrest, California by climbing in through the chimney. You're not Santa Claus. Okay. So he then got stuck and was unable to move. So he's stuck in this chimney, could not get inside. So his partner then attempted to break into the house to help him, which triggered the security alarm, which is, I guess, what they were trying to avoid in the first place by going in through the chimney. So she called 911 to come help him before running away from the scene of the crime. So firefighters soon arrived to release Keith from the chimney where he was arrested. And he's covered in soot in his mugshot, which is really funny. So we'll make sure and post that. But he's just filthy because he's been stuck in a chimney for so long. But, his partner had to call 911 to come help the robber get out of the chimney.
Yeah.
So, again, a lot of people are just not really thinking through some of these things.
It does suck that you have to do something so stupid and get, a charge for it. You just didn't have to be, this stupid.
Right? Come on.
So, this is our last one. I found this one or kind of remembered this one. I was like, this has a light, happy ending. It's a good one to end it on. These are all funny, but anyway. So I got all my information from 2 global news articles and a people.com article. So in May 2020, a Utah Highway Patrol officer pulled over a van that was swerving all over the road, and they believed it was an intoxicated driver even though it was noon. Mm-hmm. However, he was not expecting what he found. It was a 5-year-old boy named Adrian Zamaripa. I forgot to look up how to pronounce his name. So he left home after his mom told him she would not buy him a Lamborghini. Do you remember this story?
Yes.
So he decided he'd take the car himself and drive to California to get one, and he'd gotten $3 out of his piggy bank to buy one. Somehow this boy got onto the freeway, and that's when the police, and when they pulled him over, the police officer had to help him put it in park because he didn't know how to put it in park. I don't know how he reached the gas pedal.
Right?
Me as a fully grown woman has trouble reaching the gas pedal sometimes.
I'm surprised he knew to stop for the police, that he was like, I need to pull over and stop.
Yeah. So no one was hurt, thankfully. It was reported that the boy was under the care of his sibling while their parents were at work. And the family did panic when they noticed he was missing. And his sister had actually thought that he'd been kidnapped.
Oh my gosh.
Because he was just missing and called her mom at work. So she came home very quickly, and it just never occurred to them that he would take the car because he's 5.
Because that's not what you usually do.
You're not thinking, let me see if the car's here. They had talked about pressing charges against the parents, but they didn't. Mm-hmm. They said it didn't seem like there was any evidence of neglect, that he just like slipped away from his sister.
Yeah.
Kids,
how old was his
sneaky.
sister, did you say?
I didn't see.
Okay.
I think she was like early teens, maybe.
Yeah,
you know
it's
what I'm saying? Like,
okay.
Where you're like, go play in your room. Like,
go play with your G.I. Joes. I'm not expecting you to steal the car.
So this story got a lot of news, obviously, and it did take a happy turn because the next day, a very kind car enthusiast granted the boy's wish. So Jeremy Neves owns a Lamborghini and showed up to his house, and he was able to get a ride in the car around the block.
That's cute.
Yeah, and Jeremy said he was inspired by Adrian's determination and fearlessness, and said, like, obviously, probably not the best thing to do, but you gotta admit, like, his kid's gonna go places if he puts this dedication towards other things.
I mean, he knew what he wanted, and he was going for it, okay?
Yeah, and also after this, Jamie Foxx and Shaquille O'Neal teamed up to fly Adrian and his family to LA, where they got to get a private tour of luxury cars.
Wow.
And he got to go and rev the engines of a Ferrari, a Hummer, and several other brands.
Oh.
And I think Jamie Foxx was there, and they like FaceTimed Shaquille O'Neal, and the boy was like so nervous and was like, "These are my idols. I don't know what to say." Yeah. So obviously, this story could have turned out very bad. But it did have a happy ending, and I thought that was kind of lighthearted to end on with this little boy just wanting a Lamborghini, getting to go and take a ride in one and see other luxury cars.
I hope, though, that doesn't turn him into like a teenager that's like, oh, if I do this thing against the law, I'll get rewarded for it. Like,
yeah, hopefully not. I mean, his parents seemed like good people. Like, listen, kid, don't do that again.
Like, it's cute and funny when you're 5, but if you're like 17 doing this, then this is going to be a whole different story.
And I wish I had just like a video of that officer's face when he just like looks and it's like, this is a 5-year-old?
And he's like, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm with you though. Like, how did he even like reach the pedals? And like, you gotta go like really fast to like get on a freeway. Like, I feel like at that age you'd be like, oh, like you'd be afraid because like you're moving so. Like, I get afraid getting on the freeway sometimes. Like,
yeah, I mean, it was noon, so maybe it was less busy. You know what I mean? Like, maybe more people are at work and stuff. But yeah, like he made it all the way to the freeway. Like, just insane story.
Oh boy. Well, we hope you guys liked these kind of lighthearted, funnier crimes for our anniversary episode because, you know, we didn't want to do something that was like super heavy and super sad because, one, we're in person and so it was a fun time to record together and we want something fun to celebrate our anniversary. So sorry it's a little bit shorter, but you guys have gotten a fewer longer episodes lately. We'll probably have some more longer ones coming out soon. Again, on Patreon, we do have some new bonus, like 2 new bonus episodes this month, the regular one and the video one. So all kinds of fun stuff happening over there.
Speaking of Patreons, we also need to give a very special shout out to 2 new Patreons. We're so excited. Kara and Catherine. So thank you so much for supporting us. And again, if you do sign up for Patreon, you'll get your very own shout out on a future episode.
Yes. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. Every dollar that you guys can give us helps us to make this podcast the best that it can be, and that's all we want to do. And I know we don't really need a perk of the week because this week was lighthearted anyway, but I feel like we should still do it because
definitely
everyone loves a perk of the week, right? So, Courtney, what is your perk of the week?
I mean, it's obvious. I'm here in person, and we baked a cake.
Yes.
It was a disaster.
Oh, man.
It's very ugly, but it's there. And yeah, we got to bake a cake, and we got to hang out and do podcast things, and it's just been so fun. And I've been working a lot, so it's nice to have a weekend to just relax and have fun and hang out with my best friend.
Yes.
Jaclyn, what is your perk of the week?
Courtney, would you believe that I had the same perk of the week?
I thought you were going to be like, my perk of the week is I had this really great bagel the other day.
I mean, that does sound very me.
Just go completely off.
Like, yeah, you're here, but like food. But so like we got to talk about this cake a little bit more. So we wanted to have a birthday cake for the podcast, obviously. And so we had a red velvet cake with some cream cheese icing. And so we baked it, and then we're like, we need to put it on a pretty platter so we can take cute pictures to like post for you guys to celebrate our anniversary / birthday, whatever you want to call it. And this cake would not come out of this pan, y'all.
And Jaclyn was not being patient because
no,
Millie was wanting some cake.
This baby wanted this cake, and yes, I was not having it. And so
I wish I had a picture of your face if you're just like looking at this cake, being like, how can I like rip this cake out of this pan?
I'm like, I just need this cake to come out of the pan, but still look pretty so I can ice it. And then, you know, we had an incident where half the cake came out and the other half didn't, and and Courtney was on the other side of the room, and I'm like, Courtney, I need you to go away. Just, it's fine, I'm gonna fix this.
I was just letting her have a moment with the cake, and then I had to ice it, and I mean, I meant to have red velvet all in the icing. That was the point. And I do feel like I need to give a very special shout out to Andrew and Kevin, who did help us take pictures and help us with lighting. Yes. And there were minimal eye rolls and making fun of us too.
Yes, I'm very pleased. So definitely shout out to them. Kevin took some great pictures.
Yes.
Andrew was our light man. He like moved our whole chandelier to like shine it on us.
Yeah, so they definitely helped. They stopped their man game, and there was like minimal like making fun of us. So I consider that a win.
Yes, and we do have photos of us finally eating the cake after this whole ordeal of trying to get the cake ready.
And Jaclyn's never looked happier than when she was biting into that cake.
Yes, it was quite a good time. So, like we said, those pictures will be up this week because this is the podcast birthday week. Thank you guys so much for listening to us for the past year, whether you've been here since day one or you're brand new. We're so happy that you guys are here, and thank you so much for celebrating with us and all that good stuff. We just love you guys, and we love this little podcast baby that in our first episode we called our podcast murder baby. So now we have a podcast murder toddler. So congratulations to all of us.
And don't forget also, we're doing an awesome giveaway for our birthday. So if you go to our post that says like 1 year of Caffeinated Crimes, if you like that, if you're following us, if you comment your favorite episode, you tag 3 people. If you share it to your story, you get extra entries. We're going to announce this week who wins. You get to pick either a shirt or a mug. And if you don't win, that's okay. Like, let us know. Like, we can hook you up on getting you a shirt or a mug. You'll just have to pay for it. It just won't be free. And yeah, so if you're wanting to tell us that you didn't win and you're wanting a shirt or a mug, you can find us on Instagram at Caffeinated Crimes Pod, at Facebook at Caffeinated Crimes Podcast, on Twitter at Caff Crimes Pod, that's CAFF Crimes Pod, or you can send us an old-fashioned email at caffeinatedcrimespod@gmail.com. As we've mentioned like 20 million times, you can go to patreon.com/caffeinatedcrimes if you want to support us.
Yes, and again, make sure you do those contest things before tomorrow. So at the time you guys are listening to this, if you're listening to it the day it came out, tomorrow is when we're doing the drawing. So make sure that you go over and do that. And I think that's all.
Also, we're still doing our Apple Reviews giveaway that we're going to be doing until we turn 5.
Yep.
Please go and review us on there. Please give us 5 stars. Once we get 50, we'll do a drawing. You'll get a pin, a sticker, and a $10 gift card to the coffee shop of your choice. So we're doing a lot of good goodies. So please take advantage of it because, I mean, you're going to want to because it's free stuff. And who doesn't love free stuff?
I love free stuff.
And in the meantime, go have a cup of coffee.
And don't commit a crime.